Welcome back to Animals to another episode of Mastering Master Mode. In this episode, we start off by running around kinda aimlessly. In the last episode, we fought Queen Slime a few times, but we're really not able to take her out quite yet. We're not fast enough to outrun her, and even though we have the best armor available to us, we're still taking a ton of damage. While we were running around, I spotted a strange plant. Strange plants can be traded in to the dye trader for 6 special dye, which changes up the look of your outfits and accessories. When I traded in that strange plant, I got 6 Grim dye, which gives my character a very deep red, kind of glowing look. I don't love it, but there's an achievement for filling in all of the dye slots available to you, so I'm keeping it on for now. After trading in the dye, I decided, since I couldn't beat Queen Slime, I'm definitely ready for the Destroyer of Worlds. Now, if you've never played Terraria before, some of the first hard mode bosses that you'll face are mechanical recreations of the original 3, Eye of Cthulhu, Eater of Worlds, and Skeletron. The Destroyer of Worlds, believe it or not, is the mechanical recreation of the Eater of Worlds, and it is a massive metal worm. It shoots lasers at you, and when you do damage to its body, these little probes come out which also shoot lasers at you. I don't even come close to taking out the Destroyer. I'm not sure why I even fought it to begin with. That attempt filled me with confidence though, so I'm back at it for attempt number 2, where I don't even buff up this time. I head up to the sky bridge, spawn it again, deal barely any damage, and die a second time. Now I say I dealt barely any damage, but I did do about 40,000 damage. The problem is, the Destroyer of Worlds has 153,000 health. So 40,000 damage to a boss with 150,000 health is not really that much. With those silly fights out of the way, I remember that the dye trader actually sells dye, so I can fill out the rest of my dye slots and get this Grim dye off of me. I really don't like the way it looks. Filling in the rest of the dye slots gives me the achievement, Die Hard. And then I immediately take off all the dye because I'm not a huge fan of the way any of it looks. I then decided I'm going to try and brute force my way through Queen Slime, but this fight starts off pretty poorly just like the rest. Although not quite as bad, Queen Slime spawns directly on top of me and deals about 150 damage right off the bat. In this fight, I'm using the Curse Flame since it deals the most damage, and it has that Curse Flame debuff that deals a ton of extra damage over time. The only issue I'm having with this weapon is it doesn't quite have enough range. It normally has a bunch of range since it will bounce off the ground several times before despawning, but since I'm on wooden platforms, they just pass right through. I do manage to take Queen Slime into her second phase, but like I said earlier, she's just too fast for us. Ideally, we'd be able to outspeed her, so she can't catch up to us like that and force us to turn around. Once we have to turn around, we're forced to run back through the enemies that she spawned before, making it harder to dodge as we have to worry about both the old enemies that she spawned and all the new projectiles she's spawning. One of the best ways to get faster is to find a fast mount. Something I don't have yet since I'm still using the honeyed goggles, which is a very slow B mount. After that failure, I'm out of spawners for Queen Slime, so I figured I should head back to the underground hollowed biome to farm for more gelatin crystals per spawn item. I ended up getting a bit lost, however, and found myself in the glowing mushroom biome, a very dangerous biome where I almost died. I thought I was safe until a skeleton archer fell down the hole that I was in, and even though I managed to take it out with the Curse Flames debuff, it wasn't before he landed on top of my head and took me out. The skeleton archers are the worst. After I respawn, I managed to not get lost and make it to my underground hollowed biome, where I'm farming some more crystals, as well as searching for gelatin crystals. It's going relatively well as the Cursed Flames is a really great weapon in early hard mode for dealing with a lot of enemies. Its piercing and damage over time debuff are great crowd control. Plus it's got the highest damage of any weapon that I have right now, so that's also a plus. Although enemies still hit me hard, and they hit me even harder when they come out of nowhere since they're pitch black in a pitch black background, making them almost invisible. You can just barely see the spider before it kills me. I respawn in the middle of a blood moon. Now before hard mode, I had no issues with blood moons anymore, they were really a walk in the park, piece of cake, nothing to worry about. However, now that it's hard mode, there's a couple new enemies that can deal tons of damage to me. Things like werewolves and possessed armor are base hard mode enemies, so of course they deal a bunch of damage. What I'm really talking about are these chattering teeth bombs and the clowns. The chattering teeth bombs are tiny, hard to see, and they jump around a lot, so they're hard to hit too. Plus, if you get too close, they explode on you, dealing a ton of damage. These guys are a problem through the rest of the game. After that quite unfortunate death, I'm looking at my map to see how much of my world has become corrupted. Turns out, quite a bit on the left side of my map. The entirety of my beach and all the way up to my dungeon is all corrupted. That means that whole side of the map is going to be pretty dangerous. When I see the notification that the arms dealer has respawned, I head back home since I remember there's an achievement for buying one of the weapons that he sells, the mini shark. Buying that weapon gives me the achievement completely awesome. I then sell the mini shark right back to him since I am not using ranged weapons in this playthrough. The very next night was a blood moon as well, but this time I actually get an achievement, Till Death, for killing the groom, which is a zombie that's dressed up in a suit, ready for his wedding with the bride zombie, who's dressed up in her wedding dress. I also decide that the middle of a blood moon is the perfect time to do some gardening. The clown and chattering teeth bomb disagree, however, and they come after me relentlessly, taking me out. I don't fare much better upon respawning, as when I head over to try and take on the clown, throws a happy bomb at me, which deals 258 damage, and when I only spawn with 200, that's plenty enough to take me out. Attempt number 3 goes exactly the same as attempt number 1, where a chattering teeth bomb is too fast and too small for me to handle and explodes on top of me for 269 damage, way more than enough to kill me. After finally making it out of that blood moon, I decided it's time to repair some of the houses that became unlivable due to corruption. This includes one way down by the underworld. I take a biome sight potion, which allows me to see all of the corrupted blocks, and start carving them out so that the house is no longer in a corrupted biome. This will allow NPCs to move back down there and allow me to continue using the teleporter instead of having to fall all the way down my long tunnel again. As you can imagine though, it's pretty dangerous down in the underground corruption. Let alone being so close to the underworld is allowing underworld monsters to spawn as well, like this fire imp who deals like 200 damage to me, since he can shoot through walls. On top of that, I get hit by a couple cursed flame fireballs and get a taste of my own medicine. You can see just how quickly my health is depleting. It's insane. That's why I like the cursed flame so much. But it does take me out and brings this episode to a close. I hope you're all enjoying this series as much as I am. If you like this episode, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe. Also, be sure to drop a comment down below on what you're most excited for in the next episode. With that said, I'll see you all next week for the next episode of Mastering Master Mode.